string today. Vintage wood, shiny frets, strumming blues while the sun fades. All these guitars can't help myself. Why can't I quit this ever-growing need? Oh man, goddamn, bought another 6-string today. Vintage wood, shiny frets, strumming blues while the sun fades. All these guitars can't help myself. Why can't I quit this ever-growing need? Sneaking inside, just another piece of art, a new love to find. Strings humming with a history, each one with a tale. From the first touch of the string.
Hi there, my name's Aaron Short. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is July the 1st, 2024. Can you believe it? It's July already. So, it's been a long time since I've been here. Is anyone out there? I only see Dr. McFarland in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me and see me. It says 13 are watching. Don't be shy. Write something in the chat for me. It's good to be back. Last week I felt like I wasn't myself at all. And now I feel myself again. So it's good to be back again after a few weeks off. Hope everyone's well. Let me know what's new with you. Any new equipment, any new gigs, any new changes in your lives. Let me know what's going on out there in the internet world. And I'll catch up with you too. Dr. McFarlane did say, nice tune. So that's the AI tune. I did, after the last stream, I did upload that song to the channel so you can listen to it at will. There's been a lot of talk lately about the AI songs. So I don't know. I thought it'd be a good conversation piece, and I like the song, so that's why I put it up on the channel for people to listen to. Mad for It says, big hello from the UK. It's Graham. Good to see you, Graham. Kevin says, hello from Indiana. Good to see you again, Kevin. And Doctor says, I'm not a fan of the hair. I like the spike look. I need a change. My next haircut, I might just shave it all off. I just want to try. Lately, I feel like a change. I had that same haircut for so long. But the funny thing is, this is the haircut that I had before the spiked hair. But I don't know. To each their own. Patsy Smith says, missed you the last 2 weeks. Better to watch you rather than football or tennis. Yeah. I've never been a big fan of sport. And people are always surprised. They always think, Doctor said, I wish I had hair. Yeah, we always want what we don't have, don't we? I just said I want to shave it off, and you just said you want it. We always want what we don't have in life. Patsy says, about the sport. You know, it's funny. Whenever you tell people you're from England, people say, what sport team do you support? And I always say, I don't. And I don't hate it. I was never really into it. But the funny thing is with music, I don't know if you guys agree with me about this, but the sport always kind of conflicts with the music. And it always happens. So, for example, even just this Saturday just gone, I played in a bar and New York had just lost. So straight away, I'm filled with dread that the audience is going to be in a bad mood, right? But if they win, then they're in a good mood. And I've done all those gigs where you stand and play, or sometimes you don't play at all. They say there's a big game on, we'll pay you to go home. And sometimes they'll say, can you play in front of the television? And the people are looking up like this. They're just looking above you. And you, for a second, when you look up, you feel like, oh, they're looking at me. And then you realize, no, they're looking up at the television. So I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with that stuff, you know. Jasper, not putting your comment on the screen because I don't promote that that company or that business or that channel for certain reasons. But he says the Tone Traveler is snake oil. So the Tone Traveler is one of these things that you put on the guitar and it vibrates the wood and supposedly ages the guitar. Do you want to talk about that for a second? I've never tried it. Or I may have tried it once, but only for a couple of days and just thought this is crazy and sent it back. I think that was like 10 years ago. I have considered trying it again, but the more guitars I play, and I must have played thousands of acoustic guitars at this point. Thank you, Boomer. I still can't get used to the new name, but thank you. Is it Canada Day today? I didn't realize. The more guitars I play, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I feel like, for sure, when you take a acoustic guitar out of the box and you play it, if it sounds good and great, then it may get better. But those guitars that don't quite do it for you and don't quite have the right sound and don't sound open enough, that's such a gamble to like wait for them. This whole phrase and this whole thing of opening up, the guitar opens up. You can open up the guitar with these gadgets. Years ago, people used to put their guitars in front of speakers. They'd leave their guitar in front of a loudspeaker all day long while they went out to work, thinking that the speaker would vibrate the box and, open it up. There's definitely something there. I don't disagree. There's nothing there. Making a gadget that does that for us instead of playing it, I don't know. You all tell me what you think in the chat. Do you think that buying something that you place on the top of your guitar and it vibrates the top, simulating the play of a guitar, do you think that's going to make the guitar better? And even if it does, do you think that's going to continue to sound like that, or is it going to wear off over time or something like that? I don't know. As much as I am a complete geek with this stuff, and as much as I'm into all the gadgets and the gear, there's some things that I think they're just too much. And I think something like that is it's another expense. It's another thing to have to do. You've got to remember to lay it down you've got to remember to put it down and set it up every night and leave it there. And then the big thing for me was if you do it in the winter, it's out of the case. So while you might open up the guitar with this thing vibrating your guitar, it might crack due to low humidity. So I don't know. But my philosophy now is, if you get a guitar, you should connect with it in some way from day one. If you get a guitar and you're not quite sure, okay, try new strings, try a setup, try removing the pickup, try something like that may make a tangible change. But if you do that and it still isn't connecting with you, I don't want to say sounds amazing. Guitars sometimes they feel great and they sound good, or they sound amazing and they feel okay. They have a thing, right? If it hasn't got a thing, then I would move on. I wouldn't spend more money on something that can open it up for us. And at that point, why not just have AI play the guitar for us anyway, right? So I know that Martin Guitar's thing is, the day you buy the guitar is the worst it will sound. It will just get even better the more you play it. But even that, that's great marketing, isn't it? That's basically saying, you think the guitar's great now? It'll just get better. It'll get better. It'll get even better. Yeah, that's a hard thing to sell to someone. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but what if it doesn't? So just beware of that. Lee, good to see you. When are you guys in the area? Let me know. I know it's soon. I hope you had a great holiday. Yeah, just been recovering. Been doing a healthy living thing, which I hope to continue for a few months. I do feel so much better. Thank you. Boomer says all acoustic guitars change in sound for the first 6 months up to a year. Yeah, I do agree, but it's just not measurable, It's like when I've done the tests of the bone saddle versus the tusk saddle. By the time you've removed it to do the comparison, you can't really remember. And I did see someone once say, if you can't quite remember in 5 minutes if it's made a difference, then it probably hasn't. Or it's just not enough of a difference. You know, it should be enough of a difference that in those 5 minutes, even though it's been 5 or 10 minutes, you say, yep, that definitely sounds better. But in all those tests I've ever done, it's always, oh, I think it does. I want it to. Let me record. I mean, listen back to the recordings. It's not a, I'm not saying it's not there, and that's why I made the videos, but I just think it's, keep it in perspective, keep these things in perspective. And you say some guitars get better with sound. I think some guitars do more than others as well. Definitely. I mean, it depends on many factors. Oh, we're right into the rabbit holes, aren't we? I love it. Someone told me this week that the fretboard material affects the tone, and I can't buy into that. For me, it's just the guitars all sound different. For me, it's the woods. I definitely believe that. You get 10 D18s, you play them back to back with the same setup, they'll all sound different because they're different woods. When we start talking about a rosewood fretboard sounds different to an ebony fretboard, I haven't done that test yet, so I don't want to comment too much. I can believe there could be a change, but I personally think it's more to do with the whole instrument and the pieces of wood, those particular pieces of wood that come together as a whole. That's what I think. Did you play the Inception? I did. I just didn't. I still want to review one, but I think they overhyped. I said this before. I think they overhyped it. When you have a marketing campaign that says this is it, this is the big revolution, the big change of the acoustic guitar industry, and you're bringing out basically a GPC 28 made with different woods, I did feel disappointed. I did. I think with marketing, you've got to be careful. If you overhype something, people feel deflated, and then you've got to kind of ramp up that excitement again. So I played it at NAMM. I liked the way it played. I love the weight. It's so light. It's got the anthem. But that's the other problem. It's got the anthem. And at that same event at the NAMM show, LR Baggs announced their new hi-fi duet. I almost think Martin should have waited until September and released it with the hi-fi duet, something like that. Just something else to lift it up as a stage guitar option, because I still think the best stage guitar options are Cole Clark and then Maton, and then I'm not sure who's next, but definitely in that order. So yeah, it just wasn't enough for me, but I'm incredibly fussy. I like the weight. I don't like the price. I'm interested to see what they do with their next Inception type guitar. But I don't know. I just see all the companies moving to these alternative woods because they're forced to. They have to. I still like the traditional woods. I do like the alternative woods that Cole Clark use. And that's basically what the American companies are being forced to do now, because they can't get those woods anymore in the kind of amounts that they need, because Martin make around 150,000 guitars a year and Cole Clark make around 2,000 guitars a year, depending on the year, right? Kevin went to Sam Ash liquidation sale, got a couple of JBL Eon 1 compacts. App is a little tricky, but figured it out. Yeah, so I hear they've been bought by an online company. They're going to be online, which is interesting because their online portion of the site wasn't very good. But that's the part that they're going to be keeping open. It is crazy, isn't it, how the industry's changing with the stores. Like for Sam Ash to go, I mean, Sweetwater's changing a lot. They're bringing on more brands. They're doing a used section. They've really opened up. For me, they're just completely growing like this. And then these smaller stores are closing. I hear Rudy's store had a fire, but I think they've reopened again. It was only a small thing. It didn't destroy the store or anything. But lots of stores are closing all over the world. And of course, we're all responsible when we order stuff offline, but I like ordering offline. Speaking of which, let me drop a link here to my Sweetwater link. If you wouldn't mind clicking it, I'd appreciate it, especially if you're going to buy something this week. So yeah, there we go. I love Sweetwater because they support YouTubers and I buy from them. But it is scary how they're growing and growing and growing. and they're also growing into the used market as well. It is. They're getting huge, which is good and maybe better. Well, you can discuss that. I'm the wrong person to ask because they're the first place that I would go to buy something. They have been the last 10 years, right? But I'm glad you got a good price on the compact. Which version of the app are you going to use? Because there is the new app and the old app as well. So we're actually seeing blowouts now on Samash, which I was looking for a few weeks ago. They weren't there because they weren't ready, they weren't fully closed. Now we're getting closer to that transition. We are seeing these blowouts, but are they really blowouts or just numbers? $400, $400 off. Yeah. Let's see what else they got. Well, that's it. Looks like they're down to the ringer here with their gear. So yeah, interesting, very interesting stuff. And I'm more interested to see what happens with Guitar Center. Honestly, that's gonna be an interesting thing too. So, which transducer would you personally choose, K&K or Dazzo? I mean, honestly, neither. I'm not a big fan of just the transducer, but for those that want just a transducer because they want that minimal thing in their guitar, I still, as much as I would never use a K&K on stage again because it doesn't work for the way that I play, I still rate them because they are the most minimal install, right? They're just and most affordable. So affordable, minimal. Glue those sensors in, you've got to pick up, the wire runs right down the middle, nothing rattles around. I still think K&K is good for certain players. Dazzo, a bit like I said with the Martin earlier, the problem with the Dazzo was it was so overhyped in my mind, and when I played it, I heard, like a better K&K. And it definitely needs the preamp. The K&K needs a preamp as well. They both need a preamp because they don't have a preamp in the guitar. So Dazzo is good, but there's lots of different versions of the sensor. You've got to install it correctly. So if you're really serious and you want to send your guitar to Dazzo to have the install done, maybe that's a good way to go if you want to spend the money on all that. And I still think the K&K is a great budget way to go if you don't want to do those things. And then if you don't want the hassle and you want the preamp on board, look at the Bags Hi-Fi. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm looking forward to the Hi-Fi Duet, which is out in a few months. All right, Michael said, are we oversaturated now with marketing? Well, we're oversaturated with everything. I spend myself scrolling through videos and posts for hours on social media. I'm trying to get back to creating more of my own content because I'm tired of just watching other people's content that is all stuff that I'm not even interested in. You start off watching some guitar videos, and before you know it, you're watching videos about this random, I didn't want to say, you know what I'm saying, right? You get these random videos, like, where do they come from? And then these like shorts and these prank videos and these fake, there's so much fake stuff now. Fake this, fake that. I'm just not interested. So I'm trying to spend that time. I made 2 videos today, trying to spend that time just making my own videos. At least on YouTube. If you don't have a YouTube channel, you should start one. Because at least on YouTube, when you do post a video, if it does well, you can make a few dollars from the ad revenue. But you don't make any money when you sit and scroll through 3 hours of prank videos, right? What's the guitar behind you? That's that Sir HS set. I had it for a long time. Remember, I had a problem with the tuners. I bought 2 of their sets of tuners off my own back just to get a set that was working. And those tuners are now okay. They're as I would expect them to be. And I was going to sell, I've sold so many guitars. I was going to sell that one, but I'm not. I'm on the fence. And the reason is I played it at my friend's wedding. It did sound really good. It's got the split in it, which my other guitar doesn't have. And that sounds really good. It's light. I don't like relics anymore, I've decided. But if I had a gig tonight, I could grab that guitar and it would do a great job. So I'm not sure. I'm going to hang on to it a bit longer and not make any impulse sales because the market is slow. It's a great time to be a buyer. I made some money on a few guitars, but I lost money on a ton of guitars. And I don't want to lose money on that guitar. I'd rather keep it a little bit longer. All right, good day, Miss Lee. Good to see you here from Australia. What's the time out there? Ordered my custom cold clock. Great, you mentioned that before. Angel 3, all Blackwood with a humbucker. That's great. And what are you going to run that humbucker through? Are you going to process it somehow? It doesn't have any amp simulation built in the way a Acoustasonic does. So you will need to have like some kind of amp sim to run that through. I'm sure you know that. But I'm just curious to know what you would use. Rex says, greetings from Whitefish, Montana. Hanging out here for the summer. Saw a good Beach Boys tribute last night. 2 guitars, bass, 2 keys and drums, 5 vocalists, good harmonies and arrangements. I saw a really great Beatles tribute band. And I knew that they weren't plugged into the amps behind them. They were Vox amps. I knew they were just props or just there for show, if you like. They may have been real amps, but I knew they weren't playing through the amp because they weren't mic'd up for a start. So I made a note of looking at what the 2 guitarists were playing through, and they did have tracks at times. But the main show where they played the early Beatles songs, they were using an HX Stomp and one of those little cheap Mua Amazon things. And it sounded great. And they used in-ears. And I thought, wow, these guys can fly from Italy, and just travel with in-ear monitors, their guitars, and these little stomp pedals. Now, again, it wouldn't work for me because I need more buttons, need more switches. I don't love those sounds. But as an audience member, it sounded great, I have to say. Jerry Lewis, good to see you. Thank you. Any favorites you may have on a graphic EQ for live acoustic performance? I will say this. EQ is the most important thing we can have. And I really think in the early days, a lot of people want these things they call plug and play. I don't think it exists. I think in the early days when you're starting out, you can think, well, that sounds better than that. That's plug and play. But ultimately, the better your ear gets, the more you hear things, the more you listen to music, you start to hear these frequencies, and it's good to cut them out. It's also good to remove feedback. It's also good to reshape the entire tone of your guitar. Because if you think about it, with an acoustic guitar, you're hearing it from the speakers, not from the guitar itself, at a venue of a certain size. So then with that EQ, you can shape that sound that the speaker represents rather than the guitar has. So it's got all these reasons to use it. I would personally go for a powerful one. Like, you can get a basic 3-band EQ pedal, but it's a bit useless, really. You want to be more surgical. So there's a really great one that you can store presets in that has several bands. But actually, I just mentioned the HX Stomp. You should consider that because it's small and because you can load in as many. Well, you could load in 8 EQs, for example. You can customize it. So it could have your reverb, it could be your tuner, it could be your boost, and it could be your EQ. And the EQ on that thing is very good. So maybe a digital pedal like the HX Stomp is what I would do. There are dedicated, powerful EQ pedals. There's analog ones, but they're just not powerful enough for what I do with them. Having said that, I'm trying to use a bit less. You can go overboard. Once you get locked into EQing sounds, you can get a bit, well, I've gotten obsessed with it, to the point where I just start hearing things and I'm going crazy. So it was actually nice recently to have a week off playing and not have the in-ears in and not be playing music so much, and then come back with a fresh set of ears. I still hear those things that bug me, don't get me wrong, but I've had a bit of a break from it because you can, like with mixing and anything, you can get sort of too into it, and you're too into the sound. You can drive yourself crazy. So yeah, I would, if you're asking what I would get, probably for me, I'd probably get an HX Stomp, honestly. For you, if you want an analog thing, I'd get something like the Bags DI, or if you want a digital one that's not the HX Stomp, I would look at, let me just think. I've never tried it, but I've heard great things, and I love the idea of it. And lots of people that I rate are using them. I'll know what it is as soon as I see the name. You see, if you want to go analog, a lot of people want to be analog. If you want to do that, you can do something like this. But you can't adjust it. Everything is preset in each of those sliders. So the one that I've heard great things about is this, Source Audio. Yes, it's digital, but it does one job. If you have a pedal board, it's ideal. You can save presets. You can go in there. I think there's an app as well, so you can really customize it to do exactly what you want it to do. But like I said, you could also take that money and put it towards an HX Stomp, which will basically allow you to do the same things, but without an app, and will give you other stuff as well. That's why I'm pushing that, especially for acoustic guitar. It's not my favorite for electric guitar, but for acoustic guitar, you can also use it to do other stuff as well. So that's a good way to go. All right. Which transducer pickup will you personally choose? I wouldn't choose either of them. I'm trying to be more blunt these days. I don't want to beat around the bush. But then again, if you said you're on a desert island and these are the only two you could have, that's that's really hard because you don't know how those pickups are going to react until you've installed them, and that's the problem. Pickups like that are so dependent on the installation and the guitar. In fact, any pickup is. So it's really hard to answer. A Dazzo that's installed really well, I'd probably say that. Yeah, I'd probably say if the Dazzo was installed by Dazzo and was a really good install and worked with that guitar, I'd go with Dazzo. But sitting here, I need a pickup in a guitar and I don't want to ship it to them. I don't want to spend the money. I would have no problem going with the K&K. But I wouldn't, if I had to go out tonight and play a gig with a K&K or my Cole Clark, I would take the Cole Clark. So I hope that cleans it up. Jerry Lewis, Empress Effects is having a 15% off scratch and dents until July the 4th. Okay, good to know. It feels like everyone's having a 15% off right now. The pro version of the app. Yeah, well, you know my feelings on this. I'm really sad about the whole JBL thing. I had such a great thing going with them. They sent me all the systems. I was talking with them to help them with the launch of the systems. I knew the guys really well. I just had to step away. I had to say, look, this app is not where it should be after 2 years. And I've told this story before, right? Everyone knows it. I made a video about it because I don't want people to buy something and come back to me ever and say, I bought this and this kind of sucks. I will say this, the latest version of their latest app is a big step up. It's probably where it should have been day one. And I was willing to then make an updated video about it because there's a demo mode. I was willing to say, look, they've made it better. Maybe I'll check this out again at some point if they want to send another unit over. But then I saw people in the group saying, actually, it still has this problem, this problem, this problem. And so I'm still waiting. So, yeah, I've got an open mind. I'm not out to destroy companies. I just said to people, stay on the old version of the app on the Compact if you can. Wait for this new app to be even better, which I'm sure every year will get a little bit better. But that's what's happening with products now. Every year they're getting a little bit better, a little bit better. And then if you're lucky, they get a lot better over a few years. And that just seems to be the case now, that customers are willing to wait for those improvements. But I don't ever want to recommend anything. I don't want to say that isn't 100% because that's unrealistic. Nothing is 100%. I don't know. I have no piece of gear where I can't tell you there's something about it that could be changed. But there's a threshold. You know, there's a limit. So, but that's a good speaker, and you've got that. You're happy with the app, so that's fine. ToneMaster Pro from Fender has a new iPhone app, and it's amazing. Yeah, I agree. They're doing great things. I still stand by the fact I don't like the workflow of that unit. I don't like the added size of the unit. That's why I decided I'm sticking with Quad Cortex for now. But I am very jealous of the phone and iPad app. And all of these pedals should now have a phone and iPad app. And it's really bad that they don't. So yeah, good job, Fender. That was a good move. Whether people will actually use it. So I always say all the time, Gear should have apps. Gear should have app control, remote control, this. I wonder if I'd actually use it if I had it. Like when I go to a band gig and set up everything, would I actually loop and have them play to it and walk out the front and make adjustments? Or, you know, I've got to admit, most of the times, and I know I sound like I'm making excuses, but honestly, most of the times in the past, I've done a band gig, I've just set up, done a sound check and played. I haven't made any adjustments during the gig, whether it's on a pedal, a modeler, or an app. But it certainly is not a bad thing to have that. Jasper says, I went out for a new Super D and bought a pre-owned HD28. Yes, I agree. Super Ds didn't do it for me. I've said it before on here. You haven't been watching the show, Jasper, because you keep asking me the questions that I've talked about recently. I played the Super Ds and they just didn't do what I thought they were going to do. I'm a HD28. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. I prefer the smaller body guitars. I like a really great sounding OM28 from a Martin. And for my stage guitars, I like a medium size, like a GP. But if you're happy with the size of an HD28 and you get a good one, there's nothing like it. It really is. They really are great. So yeah, I'd say that's one of my top 5 acoustics for sure. Even though I don't often play Dreadnoughts, that is one of my top 5 acoustics. I've owned several. And I still have an HDC28 that sounds really good too. Yeah. Thomas, how you doing? Rex says, that close carbon Strat neck I sent you a photo of was pretty nice. Otherwise felt better about my Rain song when compared with similar close acoustic, not plugged in. The guys were great. Yeah, I'm going to check out a close, but it's going to be the travel size. So it's not fair to compare the travel size to the full size Rain song. I agree. It's really sad that Rain song closed. Those guitars stood up to any wood guitar. I don't care what people say. I know some people on some videos make grand comments about certain carbon fiber guitars, but I've yet to play a full-size carbon guitar that really made me happy. But the Rain songs, not all of them, because not all, you know, I hate when people say all Martins are great, all Taylors are great, all Rain songs are great, all Maitons are bad, all Maitons are good. I don't like these blanket statements. They're ridiculous. But I played several Rain songs that were just excellent, and I made several blind comparisons where they came out really well, really favorably. So I like what Close are doing as well. That's why I spoke to them at the NAMM show. I love the fact they make these necks. If you don't know, you can buy a carbon fiber electric guitar neck from Close, because something like a Stratocaster, the neck is bolted on. You screw it on. You just undo the screws, put their neck on, and re-screw it. You know, screw it back on, and you've then got a carbon neck with stainless steel frets and locking tuners. I'm very interested. In fact, I'd rather check that out over the travel guitar, honestly, at this point. And I really want to check out their full-size carbon guitar so I can compare it to the Rain song. The reason I'm not is because they're not yet putting the stainless frets in that. I think that's going to come in a few months. But if things go well with them and they like what I do, maybe I can review all their stuff. I don't know. It depends how things play out, honestly. These things can be very finicky with that kind of stuff. But I do like what they're doing. But I will say that one more time. It's really sad that Rain Song closed. They really had a fantastic product. And they just didn't get the exposure they deserved. I heard people really running them down. Like, oh, people said they were crap. It was that was crap to say that. They were great guitars. Great guitars. They didn't have all the features that I wanted. I begged them to put stainless steel frets on. I wanted like a gig bag. I wanted certain things with those guitars, but they sounded excellent unplugged and they played great. And yeah, I'm one more time. It's a real sadness that they closed down. Thomas Moore just got a Fishman Aura Spectrum DI. Sounds great and got a great deal on Facebook. Yeah, I have one. They are still great. And I know there's some touring artists that are still using them. They just like the way the IR on those kind of sits on top and doesn't interfere. I find with the other IR stuff that it just makes the sound not to my liking and interferes too much. There's something about that early Aura technology that just kind of sits over the sound and just does something nice if you find the right match. And it's also a fine DI pedal as well. And it's battery powered, which is also nice. I feel like I hit the sweet spot with the Boss GX100, but doubt if it will get updated in the future. Oh yeah, it doesn't matter. I still love my Voice Live 3 Extreme. That's not going to get updated. And that's still my favorite pedal. Some people get very obsessed with, I must sell what I have and get one of these newer ones because they're going to get the updates. Yes, updates are great. They're fun. They're exciting. But ultimately, I'd rather have something that just works at my gigs and pays the bills than excitement. So that's why I own the Quad Cortex, and I'm sitting here pressing the update button, waiting for 3.0 to launch any day now. But when I go to my show tomorrow, I'll take the Voice Live 3 Extreme, which is 15 years old and won't be updated. Sometimes the things that we want are not the things that we need. Do you use a gig bag? And if so, which one? Or is there one you recommend? Yes, I only use one. I've only used one the last 12 years. I have no affiliation with them, and they're absolutely incredible. And they're called Meridian. I happen to have it right here. So I had one of these. I actually got one 10, 12 years ago, something, from Sadowski Guitars. And stupidly, it said Sadowski on it somewhere. It was in black, but it said Sadowski. So I'm thinking, great, people think there's a Sadowski bass or something in here. They're going to steal my guitar. It never happened. But inside, the strings did actually... It looked like this. This is a new one. It looked brand new, the one I had. The only problem is that the strings were tearing inside. You know how the string trees, the strings ends will tear? So what I do now is, I haven't made a video about these yet, but I use these covers. Kind of silly, but it works. These covers stop it from ripping. The case is not ripped at all. So if I look after this case, it should last me the rest of my life. Honestly, they're amazing. And what happened was, Meridian closed down, but his daughter is still running a custom shop. Now, they're not cheap. That was like $400 and something. But like I said, it will last me, if I look after it, probably easily 20 years. So I think it's worth every penny. Meridian is the name. Mooradian. They have a custom shop, and if you reach out to them, tell them that Erin Short told you about them. Yeah, I might buy another one just in case, because she's now running it by herself, I think. So just in case she stops for some reason, I might even get another one and just leave it in the back of the closet. I love it. And it's funny, I talk about bags and cases a lot on this channel, because I'm traveling around a lot. I need comfort. I need things that work well. It has a great big front pocket, a middle pocket, and a top pocket for your strap or whatever. People say it's not protective enough, but I've been in cabs and trains and everything with that, and I've never had any problem because it's got really thick material on the sides. So I also use a mono bag for my electric guitar, and I probably will keep using that. But for the acoustic, that's the only way that I would go. Here's Michael. So Michael got the Quad Cortex and the Kemper recently, and he's had some interesting feedback about them. But he's also told me he didn't update the firmware. I said, come on, you got when you get something new and there are updates available, before you do anything, update the firmware on that device. Before you do anything else, make sure it's running the latest firmware. But let's see what he says. I'm battling the Quad Cortex, Kemper, and Helix. Do you think they come out with better Leslie rotary effect for Quad Cortex, or develop new multi effects with larger screens? Kemper seems archaic. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. For me, the Helix that has the best power is the floor, and that for me that's too big, simply because I need to be mobile. And I never gelled with the amp models, but I do hear other people playing them and they sound great. So that's all subjective. The Kemper is a better form factor, the Kemper Stage, but you're right, it's archaic. There is an app control, but if you haven't got that connected and you're using the unit, I don't like using the unit by itself. There's many things I do like about it, don't get me wrong, but that's also getting older now, and I just said it doesn't matter if it gets older, but it is getting older. I went through a few of them. In the end, when I had that and the Quad Cortex, I just didn't love the sounds every day I was getting. And I got frustrated with having to buy Kemper profiles to find those particular sounds. I like having the models and the profiles. And for me, and again, this is all subjective, but with the quad cortex, I always just get sounds that I like. Even from the models, I just think, oh, it sounds great. And I didn't get that with any other platform, honestly. And I've been through them all many times. I hear what you're saying about the effects. That's not the strong point of the quad cortex. If you want effects, then you go for something like a fractal. The fractal has all the effects. They're all high quality. But again, it's I wouldn't say archaic, but I don't think it's user friendly. And the form factor of them all is pretty big. So I really think you should go with quad cortex, but I don't want to say that because then if you don't like it next year, you'll blame me. But there is a new update for quad cortex coming out any day. So I would wait for that to come out if you can, and then try it again with a fresh outlook. Honestly, if it's a matter of you like everything, but there's one effect missing at this point, I would get a pedal for that effect. I told you this already, but I would get a pedal that does that thing really well. If you rely on that thing that much, I would get like a rotary pedal and add it in. And then the day they do add it, you can sell that and just have all in one. That's what I would do. If you really care about effects, I would look into the fractal stuff. But, you know, I've been through them. I must have had all these modelers 10 times, honestly. And that's just what I've settled on. I did tell you to check out the Tone Master Pro as well. I think you might have liked that one. I really do. But I don't know what the rotary is like in that one either. So if you ask around and people say the rotary and the Tone Master Pro is good, you should try and grab one of them as well. Since you've got these and you're doing the comparisons, I tell people not to compare stuff because comparison is the thief of joy. You will drive yourself crazy comparing stuff because at the end of the day, nothing is perfect. But since you got those three, you should just order a Tone Master Pro and put that alongside them as well. But whatever you choose, there's going to be something missing from one of them, and you have to accept that. So, good luck. Good luck with that. Yeah. Greg, just want to pass on anyone upgrading their Taylor ES pickup to an Anthem. You can reuse the Taylor bridge pickup. Lots of info. Oh yeah, people have wired the Anthem mic into the ES2. Have you done that? Because there was also that video where they showed how you can use a Fishman matrix in an Anthem instead of the element. And I did it, and it didn't work. It was distorting. And I just think in that video they misled people. So have you actually done that, Greg? Has that actually worked for you? And battery box. Battery box is very easy. Any system you buy with a battery box can always power another system. It's just the two wires that you've got to connect. Sergio says, has anyone had experience using Eros Loop Studio? I had one. I was meant to make a video for them. Talking about firmware again. I had one for years. I got it with like an artist discount. Had it in that closet behind me. I was waiting for the update to make it where I could actually recommend it and use it. This went on for so long. In one of my clear outs, I sold it. And then literally a week later, they released an update that added loads of functionality. So when I tried it, I was impressed, but not enough to recommend it. But now with all the updates it's had since then, and even more since then, I think you should check it out, but I'm not going to recommend it because I haven't tried the latest firmware. But yeah, it's interesting. But we're all talking about these things. How about the Voice Live 3 Extreme? Okay, to be fair, it doesn't do everything the Eros Loop Studio does. It doesn't do what the Quad Cortex does. But if you're talking about a pedal to loop and sing with, don't forget the Voice Live 3 Extreme. I need a break. Hang on. I've got lots of comments here. Oh, okay. I have a Lely acoustic switch with a reverb pedal with it for an acoustic guitar. Which is the best pickup, passive pickup you can recommend that's not piezo? So be careful when you say piezo. Do you mean under saddle pickup or do you mean piezo? Because piezo is also K and K. All those things, you know, the hi-fi, the K and K is piezo still. Some people say piezo and they mean the under saddle pickup. So just clarify which one you mean. And again, it's such a massive question, which is the best one. Let me just read that again. So you've got an acoustic pedal, and you want a pickup. Yeah, you want passive pickup that's not a piezo. There is no passive pickup that's not piezo, as far as I know. So yeah, I think you mean not under saddle, but just clarify for me before I spend any more time on that. Thank you. I think I had gas. Yep. We all do, don't we? That's why we're here. If we didn't have gas, we wouldn't be here. Greg, happy Canada. I didn't know. So yeah, happy Canada Day. And Independence Day in 4 days. Yep. July 5th is coming up. I mean, July 4th is coming up. I'm still not over my vacation. Rex says, I appreciate you recommending the WS1000. Yeah, that's the one that I still have that I love. I'm so glad I got that one. Okay, so you compared the close travel with the Harley Benton Travel Acoustic under $200. Acoustically, not plugged in, couldn't justify it. But to be fair, it's not, I don't think it's a case of carbon versus wood here. I think it's more that the close is a smaller guitar. That Harley Benton guitar you're talking about is the size of a GS Mini. Those GS Minis sound good for a reason. They're not they're not really mini guitars. They're like smaller full-size guitars. And that's why they sound so good. So I just think I think it's comparing apples and oranges. The reason you'd go with the Travel Close is because it's got stainless steel frets. It folds in half. It fits into a backpack. You can fly with it. It's got maybe got the Anthem in there. They do one with the Anthem. It's all carbon. So to compare that to the Taylor, which is wood, it doesn't fold in half. It hasn't got stainless steel frets. You do have to humidify it. They're almost completely different animals. Yeah, but they're both in that category of travel guitar, but they're completely different. So I'm not surprised that guitar. Sorry, I know I said GS Mini and you've got Harley Benton, but they're basically the same thing. I'm not surprised that you felt like that, but I do think they're different as well. Like I really like the Mini Maiden, but that wouldn't sound as good as a GS Mini acoustically. But it would sound better plugged in. So you've got to, you got to weigh up what matters to you. But yeah, well, I'll see when I've played the close guitars at NAMM, but I couldn't really hear them. So once I've played the close, I'll be making the video about it if things work out. If Greg White, happy Canada Day. Yeah. Okay, I did that one. But yes, you're right, Rex. The WS1000 was a great purchase. I should have pushed it even harder at the time. I didn't know they were going to close down. I thought we'd have more guitars coming out. Yes, it's a solid unit. It doesn't really need anything fixed. It works great. Good. I forgot about the context, but that's always a good thing to say. Okay, borrowing the Helix. So you've got the Helix, the Quad Cortex, and the Kemper. I really think, I told you this, I think you should have got, I'll say it one more time, Toemaster Pro versus Quad Cortex, I think, is the one to compare. Personally. Yeah. So now you've got to go and get a Toemaster Pro as well. This is a Gibson SG 2006, really special. Michael says, tuner on Kemper is awful. Not too easy to see on Helix. Very good on QC. The Leslie on Kemper is okay. Horrible on QC and excellent on Helix. Wow. I'm not sure about Helix, but I feel like Helix has Leslie cabinets and Leslie effects. I mean, the Helix is over, coming up to 10 years old. They've had many updates, many effects added. From something that I wouldn't be against doing, I already told you this. I would get something like an HX Stomp and add it into the effects loop of the Quad Cortex. What a great unit that would be. But first thing to do is to check out Toemaster Pro. It has the app. It's the new kid on the block. It's a cool pedal. It sounds great. If that has a great rotary effect, then I think you should get a Toemaster Pro. Done. If it doesn't, I think you should keep the Quad Cortex, get an HX Stomp, and have them on a small board together with an expression pedal, and then use the Leslie effects from the stomp in the quad cortex. If they ever put those effects in the quad cortex, you just use quad cortex by itself, and you keep the HX stomp and use it as a travel rig / backup / acoustic guitar, multi-effects. They're just great utility pedals. That's what I would do. But that's what I would do, because I'm not a huge fan of how the amps work and the Helix. But the effects, yes, you're right, they're great. There's also, to save money, the HX1, which has one effect of the Helix for less money. But why not spend the extra money and have the stomp? Because with the stomp effects and the quad cortex all working together, that would be amazing. And I do disagree. I think the Kemper tuner is excellent because it's an always-on tuner as well. I really want that in the quad cortex. I want an always-on tuner. Fractal has it, and Kemper has it. The others don't have it. I think they should all have that. But that's just my preference again. And I do think the effects will get better in quad cortex. I really do. But I also think it's a bad idea to wait for that day to happen, because I've been talking today about waiting for updates to come. It's not a good idea. But I do think that they will add more and more, obviously, over time. You've got to check out that ToneMaster Pro's Leslie, and you've got to see, Rotary, whatever. You've got to check that out and see if that is what you're looking for. In fact, Dr. McFarlane could probably send you a clip if you ask him nicely, because he's got one. What's your experience with selling gear at the moment? I've been finding it challenging. Sold about 10 to 15 guitars. Made money on some. So the stuff that's collectible will sell, and will sell for really good money because people still want that stuff. If a John Mayer came up now in mint condition, you'd get whatever you asked for it. Probably 50 grand if it was mint. But that's your standard Fenders, your standard guitars, forget it. You're going to give them away. I've taken hits on a few things because I want the space. The space is valuable to me. I've got a lot more things I want to list, and I don't expect them to sell very fast. It's a really bad time for the industry. Stuff is not selling. You see Fender selling stuff at cost. PRS was selling stuff at cost. Discounts everywhere. Just wait for the 4th of July sales. It's going to be crazy. Sales coming up. Yeah, so yeah, it is challenging. But list it for a fair price, not too low, not too high, and wait it out. It will sell eventually, but it could take a long time. Sergio loves Canada. Michael says, I think no matter what, I need to buy either a tuner pedal or a Leslie pedal. Basically. Yeah, well, I absolutely adore the Peterson strobe tuner pedal. And if I had a small board with the quad cortex and then that pedal, that tuner pedal could be always on, and that's a strobe tuner. It's amazing. So that's what I would do. I personally would have a small board with the quad cortex, the Peterson strobe tuner, and something like a Shaw wireless system on the board, all powered by a power supply. And then in the space I have on that board the little bit of space left, I'd get a great Leslie pedal and add that. Done. And then down the line, if they add an always on tuner, some amazing always on strobe tuner and Leslie to the quad cortex, I'd take that off, sell everything, and just use the quad cortex. That's what I would do. You can be very lucky to find one thing that does everything. But I still think maybe ToneMaster Pro. Maybe ToneMaster Pro. If it's not that, then I would do what I just said. That also gives you a bit of scope as well. Like, say you suddenly realize you need something else, or a cool new effect comes out and it's not in that system. You can just add it in. That's not a bad way to do it. I don't do those things because I don't need that stuff. I'm very I'm very plain with what I need. I just need a great amp sound, a few different sounds, decent delay and reverb. But having a small board with a space for one extra pedal at all times will mean that you can always add that on, and that keeps that gate open in the future. So that's what I would do. Owen, good to see you again. Hope you're well. McFarlane says rotary sound. Maybe if you got time, you could upload a video of the rotary to your channel, Doc, because I haven't seen many demos of that. Yeah, I like the tuner on the Kemper too. I like the fact it's always on as well. And one more time, did you update the firmware on the Kemper and the Quad Cortex? Melissa Lamb is a wonderful singer and pianist living in Canada. She streams on Twitch. I'm her devoted fan. Her music helped me when I was having a hard time. Very nice. I'm not familiar with her. But think of all the amazing Canadian artists we have. Joni Mitchell, Brian Adams, Leonard Cohen, yeah, and many, many more. I'm not good at thinking on the spot, if you hadn't noticed. Yes, under saddle pickup. That's under the saddle, right? So you want an under saddle pickup? You want a passive under saddle pickup? I'd probably get one of the Fishman's. I'd probably get a Fishman Matrix, but Fishman make just a passive under saddle pickup. I'd probably get that because it's very low profile. It's, it sounds good. It's passive. There's also one by K&K, the Fantastic. I tried that once. That was very good too. The Fantastic. I probably should have tried the K&K with the under saddle pickup. I never did try that system. I bet that would work pretty well. Well, I guess I tried it in the Emerald, but it wasn't exactly the same. Stainless steel frets is so nice to have. I am hooked. Yeah, I still don't know how I feel about it. I'm still going to make that video on should acoustic guitars have stainless steel frets. I still have a few. I haven't gone off the idea, but I have more of an insight into how I feel. And the problem for me is I haven't tried them back to back in the same guitar. And that's what's really holding me back. But there's no way I'm going to do that mod for like $1,000. But I certainly don't hate. I certainly don't hate having them. I was getting a guitar ready to sell the other day, and the frets were terrible. They were corroded because they were nickel frets. So I cleaned them all. I used that lizard spit system and cleaned all the frets. They came up like brand new. If you're going to sell something, then do that, because that's going to, the shiny frets look amazing when you take the pictures. But stainless steel frets wouldn't need that, would they? They would stay stainless, of course. Sergio, when I started using Eros Loop Studio, I thought, what nonsense, right? Where is the loop cancel? But right, yes, exactly. It was missing a lot of stuff. Then it began to seem logical. Looper is so convenient, but I use a table, not on the floor. Right. And they have made a lot of improvements lately on that thing. I'd like to try one out again. But I'm very happy with the one in the Voice Live 3 Extreme. Are you sick of that word yet? It's going to be coming soon. I'm going to be talking about that very soon on the channel. Elissa Lamb, is that a joke? No, I think he meant Melissa Lamb. Melissa, let me see. Melissa Lamb, Canada. Yeah, she's a... Oh. I'm seeing television personality. melissalamb.ca. Let me just mute the system audio here. I'm not sure, but I don't think Sergio's talking about someone like famous star. I think he's talking about someone like doing the YouTube thing. Melissa Lamb, yeah. And then Art says, how about the LR Baggs Hi-Fi Duet? Would that be better instead of the undersaddle pickup? Because the undersaddle sounds too quacky. Yes, I agree. Undersaddles can sound quacky in certain frequency ranges. So yes, how can I recommend a Hi-Fi Duet when I haven't really played it? I've only played a prototype at NAMM. I think it will be out in 2 months from what I've heard. And I will, if Baggs provide me with a guitar with it already installed, I will try it out for sure. Yes, I would definitely wait. I'm telling everyone now to wait. If you're looking for an acoustic guitar pickup, wait until the LR Baggs Hi-Fi Duet is in the wild. Wait for those initial reviews and the feedback from people, pardon the pun. Definitely, because it could be an awesome thing. But we don't know. So don't just keep your expectations in check so you don't get on that hype disappointment thing. I was listening the other. There was a woman that was no, I won't say that word. You got to be careful what you say on YouTube, because the algorithm hears every word you say in a stream and it flags things. So that's why sometimes I don't read out certain words. I hope you understand. Okay, not related to that. Jasper says 2 mistakes. I bought 2 cheap guitars, the FG5 and the Eastman E1D SP. Better save up for higher end guitar. Yeah, I get that philosophy. I think it has merit. Higher value guitars will probably retain more value, maybe, in this market. Who knows? The FG5 is not a cheap guitar. It's an excellent guitar. I love the FG5. Eastman, I've only played one Eastman. It was made very well, but there was just something missing for me. Whether that's brand recognition or not, I don't know. Maybe. I've definitely been guilty of that in the past. For me, it's a numbers thing. I don't want loads. I've still got loads of guitars, but I'm selling them. I don't want loads of guitars. I want a smaller amount of guitars that I actually use. Or if there's one that has some sort of sentimental value or is collectible and I do want to keep it, I would keep that. But if you can sell those 2, Jasper, and get one with the money plus a bit more money that you love, that's great. But just because you spend more money on a guitar doesn't mean you're going to like it more. A more expensive guitar is not necessarily a better guitar. No way. Now, I've made that mistake numerous times. Yes, you'll never deny that, hey, that guitar was $8,000. An $8,000 guitar will never play and sound and look like $100 guitar or a $50 guitar. It won't, of course, right? But you do get that law of diminishing returns. And there is that thing that I started the show with, which is when you play that guitar. You asked me about the Tone Traveler, and I said, well, if you take the guitar out of the case and you strum it and it doesn't connect with you on any level, then no gadget like that is going to make you connect with it. And it's the same thing. If you take an $8,000 guitar out of the case and you just don't connect with it, it doesn't matter that it was $8,000. You're still not going to connect with it. So the sweet spot for these guitars really, I think, is between 2,000 and 4,000, right? Your Martin was probably 3.5. But there will be guitars you pick up. Yeah, we've all done it. We've all picked up a $500 guitar in Guitar Center and said, this is great. And we've all picked up, like when I played the Super D. I'm not going to say all of them again. I want a T-shirt that says all acoustic guitars sound different. But you'll also go into a high-end boutique guitar store and they'll say, this is the Excalibur of the guitar world. It's priceless. And you'll play it and think, this is crap. So, not disagreeing. No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not agreeing. You got to keep all this in the back of your mind when you go out looking. So I've been through my collection and there's just those guitars that even if I wanted to sell them because I get good money for them and I'm not playing them, they just work and I cannot sell them, because if you sell a guitar that just works for you, the chances are you might not find that particular thing again. And it's a very expensive journey to find that again. Okay. No problem, Chris. I'm just explaining why people don't say certain words, because this YouTube thing is, they're smart, right? They analyze everything, every single word. They know what you're saying. That the computer does, the AI. I'm wondering if Waverly tuners are worth the upgrade from Grover. No, I like both, but Grovers are good. Sometimes you get bad tuners. I would first of all try a new set of that brand. I'd ask that company to send me a new set of those if there's a problem with them. And then if not, the last resort is to change the tuners, because sometimes you have to also adjust the holes and things as well. Sometimes it doesn't line up, you know. The vent is a cool Leslie pedal. Yeah, I stand by that. If there's one effect that you rely on, that you use on every song, I don't think any of these multi-effects pedals will be as good as that one dedicated pedal. I mean, maybe if you're lucky, that's the way it should be, of course. But if you can get a small pedal that does that job really well, I would get it. Same with a tuner. No tuner on any modeler is as good as a Peterson Strobo Stomp tuner. So if I was going to have I don't have a board. I like to just take the Quad Cortex in my guitar case and play the gig. I haven't done that yet, but that's what I would do because it's so portable. But if I didn't need the portable side of it, I would put it on a board, have a dedicated power supply, add the tuner of my choice, which is the Peterson, and then, like I said earlier, leave 1 or 2 spaces for additional effects that aren't in the unit. And if they ever are in the unit, then take it off and sell the board. I think that's the way to go if you have specific requirements. Eastman is okay. I got a Guild F55 and just yesterday a Martin. Nice. Those 0015Ms are always talked about. Well, me and my daughter loves the sound of the all mahogany body. Yep. Very light too. It was on a super sale in Hong Kong. Very nice. Yeah, I've never owned one, but I always hear great things. I like mahogany and rosewood, and I like Sitka and rosewood. I think I've played all mahogany. I think I liked it, but I haven't played it enough to really have an opinion. But people always talk about how great those guitars are, for sure. Okay, thank you to Dr. McFarland. He's offered to upload a video of the effects for Michael tonight. That's very, very much appreciated. Divided by Time says, just got my new 0028. Nice. Debating pickup choice. Hi-Fi, regular Anthem, Anthem SL. So like I said earlier, Divided by Time, wait. Wait for the Hi-Fi Duet. If you can't wait, if you've got a gig next week and you need a system, I'm going to say Anthem SL because that's what I love. If you want to save money and you're not gigging that much, get the Hi-Fi regular. It's cheaper. Less stuff in the guitar, sounds decent with the right install. The right install is important with all these systems. But I would wait right now for the Hi-Fi Duet, which promises to be the best of both of those systems I just mentioned, but it will be more money, which is driving people crazy. And it's driving me crazy that they're so crazy. Because, yes, it might be $450. Okay, let's get that shock out of the way. But we're talking about a dual source, high quality microphone, high quality professional pickup system. If they deliver what they promise. I'm not going to say that is what it is because I don't know yet. I don't have it. But if they deliver what they promised to deliver, this is pro stuff. This is not for your annual open mic night. This is for pro users. And I think the price is justified if it's amazing because everyone is so disappointed with the sound of their systems. So we'll see. We should know in a couple of months. Jasper says again, 1,000 to 4,000 difference is much, much easier to hear than the difference between 4,000 to 8,000. Yeah, but even then, I'll say it one more time. It depends on that particular guitar. The $20,000 Martin OM John Mayer they had at the NAMM show sounded, from what I could hear at that show, trade show, sounded amazing. It had the thing. And I didn't think it would. I thought it might not sound it sounded amazing. But I'm not saying it's because it was 20,000. I'm saying that particular guitar sounded amazing. And I believe there's guitars that I've played that are $1,500 that sound better than guitars that are $4,000. I believe it's about the wood in that guitar, the setup, and what you're listening for. And I've only started believing that really since I did the M36 comparison I did about a year ago, where I had 2 M36s and they sounded completely different. It was wild. And I felt the same with OMs. I've owned so many OM Martins. Some sound huge and incredible and big, and some sound kind of naff. So, no problem. You're welcome. I'm going to wrap things up. I'm going to say it's great to be back again. I've got videos coming up regularly now this month. So if you're not subscribed, please do. just like this. Hit the subscribe button. Do make sure you also hit the bell icon, and also make sure you turn on notifications on your device. Because I went into YouTube recently and it said, first of all, hardly anyone subscribes to the channel that watches my videos, which is, okay, it is what it is. But then the ones that are subscribed, most of them haven't rung the bell. And then most of them that also haven't turned on notifications on their device. So they're not getting notified when I post a video anyway. So please do those things. Make sure all notifications are on for YouTube, and you hit the like button and the like button, the bell button. And when I post the video, it will come up on it should come up on your device and say Aaron Short has posted the video at that point. And only for the channels you ask to do that, of course. You won't get spammed. Today I posted one on Fender going back to NAMM. That's a big deal. Please watch that if you haven't. I posted a short about the Quad Cortex because the update isn't here when they said it would be, but that was kind of a joke, really. And should be some pretty cool stuff this month. I always say that, but this July should be a good month for what I'm doing. So just a few more before I go. Yes, wait for the airbags. Hi-Fi. I did sell my Martin M28. It wasn't as comfortable as the 00. Well, there you go. You see, I said I prefer an OM28 to a Dreadnought, and you prefer a 00 to an OM28. But I am 6'5". That does make a difference. I've been rewatching all your pickup videos. Only thing I'm concerned with the hi-fi was the boomy tones. If they add another mic, does that get rid of boomy? No, it could potentially make it more boomy. It wasn't boomy. That guitar was boomy. So there we go. Doesn't that make sense? The guitar, that was a boomy OM28. And then the pickup was boomy. There was one frequency that was feeding back, but I'm happy to notch out. You know, my pedal has a notch on it. I can notch that out. That's one bad frequency isn't a problem. That's very common with any system. We don't know yet what the new one will do. We need to wait and see. So, but that's where that EQ comes in. We all need a good EQ in our chain somewhere, really. But at this point, wait. You've only got 2 months to wait, so just wait. Nick says, thank you. Boomer says, cheers. Thumbs up. Sergio says, I think it's quite difficult these days to find a guitar that suits you. I currently have a 2006 American Gibson SG in my hands. I think this guitar will suit me. Yeah, and then it might not suit you in a year's time, right? Rosanna, thanks for moderating. Look, they're sticking by us, Lee and Rosanna, still moderating even after this 2-week break. Really appreciate it. Sergio says, I used to do crazy things with guitars on Gibson, learning jazz chords and melody. This is what I want. Yeah, that's very good stuff. Mad for it. Thanks for watching, Mad. Boomer, are you and AI going to write some new songs? I've thought about it. I thought about collaborating with AI to make originals that I can perform on the channel eventually, but we'll see. I don't think AI is going away. I think it does some really cool stuff. If you haven't tried it, you should check it out. All right, I must wrap things up. And go and check out the videos I posted today, please. And take care and be well. I'll see you here. Let me just make sure I'll be here next Monday. I'm pretty sure I will be. Next Monday is the 8th, all right? Yep, I'll be here. I'll be here every Monday in July. So mark your calendar. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching and have a good night. Bye-bye.
Six-string today, vintage wood, shiny frets, strumming blues while the sun fades. All these guitars, can't help myself. Why can't I quit this ever-growing need? Oh man, goddamn, bought another six-string. guitars, all these guitars, can't help myself. Why can't I quit this ever-growing need? Sneaking inside, just another piece of art, a new love to find. Strings humming with a history, each one with a tale. From the first touch of the